Have you ever been told to eat your vegetables because they're always healthy? Well, what if I told you that, especially after the age of 60, some of the very vegetables we think of as health champions can quietly increase your risk of a stroke? Not because they are bad foods in themselves, but because of how they interact with aging bodies, medications, and timing of meals? Welcome back to Live Healthy Every Day. Today, we're diving into 9 surprising vegetables that can become risky if you eat them the wrong way. Stay with me, because what you learn here could protect you or a loved one from a very real overnight stroke. Why vegetables can change from friend to foe after 60. As we age, our blood vessels stiffen, kidney function declines, and the body processes nutrients differently. Add in common medications, blood thinners, blood pressure pills, calcium supplements, and suddenly what used to be harmless becomes potentially dangerous. This doesn't mean you should fear vegetables. It means you should understand their effects in context so you can eat them wisely. Let's break them down one by one. 1. Spinach, the double-edged sword. Spinach is often praised as a superfood, but it's packed with oxalates, compounds that can bind to calcium. In older adults, especially those taking calcium or vitamin D supplements, oxalates can contribute to artery calcification and microclots. Imagine Harold, a 76-year-old who ate spinach salad every night and took his supplements faithfully. One morning, he couldn't move his arm, a silent stroke during the night. Doctors found calcified blood vessels and high calcium oxalate levels. Key tip: if you love spinach, eat it in moderation, cook it to reduce oxalates, and enjoy it earlier in the day rather than right before bed. Always tell your doctor if you combine it with supplements. 2. Broccoli, healthy but tricky with blood thinners. Broccoli is rich in vitamin K, essential for clotting. That sounds good, right? But if you're on blood thinners like warfarin or Plavix, inconsistent vitamin K intake can throw your blood balance off. Clara, 82, ate broccoli almost every night. Her INR levels swung wildly, and one day she suffered a hemorrhagic stroke. Key tip: don't cut broccoli completely. Instead, keep your intake consistent and get your blood levels checked regularly. Consistency is your best friend here. 3. Romaine lettuce, the hidden dehydrator. Romaine seems harmless, even refreshing, but it has a mild diuretic effect, meaning it makes you lose water. If eaten late at night, especially along with diuretic medications, it can lead to overnight dehydration. That means thicker blood and higher clot risk while you sleep. Leon, 75, loved his big evening salad. Combined with his blood pressure meds, this habit led to an ischemic stroke overnight. Key tip: enjoy your salads earlier in the day and hydrate well in the evening. A simple glass of water can make all the difference. 4. Raw carrots, a blood sugar roller coaster. Carrots sound innocent, but raw carrots eaten alone can cause rapid sugar spikes followed by dips at night. For seniors with insulin resistance, that dip triggers stress hormones that constrict blood vessels and raise blood pressure. Leia, 78, snacked on raw carrots before bed. She often woke up groggy, and one morning, she couldn't speak clearly. Tests showed a small stroke. Key tip: if you crave carrots, pair them with protein or fat, like hummus or a boiled egg, and eat them during the day, not right before bedtime. 5. Garlic, nature's blood thinner. Garlic is famous for heart health, but it has strong anticoagulant properties, especially in supplement form. If you're already on prescription blood thinners, adding garlic pills or daily raw cloves can thin your blood too much. Thomas, 81, did exactly that, and ended up with a hemorrhagic stroke. Key tip: garlic in cooking is fine, but if you take it in concentrated supplement form, treat it like medicine. Always tell your doctor. 6. Onions, pressure swings in disguise. Onions contain compounds that lower blood pressure. That can be great, but if you're already on blood pressure meds, combining them may push your pressure too low at night. Then your body rebounds with a surge, straining blood vessels. George, 80, loved raw onion sandwiches. Combined with his beta blocker, this triggered fainting spells and eventually a stroke. Key tip: enjoy onions, but avoid very large raw portions late in the evening. Moderation is key. 7. Corn, starch and sugar in one corn, is starchy, meaning it acts like sugar in the body. Eat it at night, and you risk unstable blood sugar and morning hypoglycemia. That's when stress hormones surge and vessels tighten, increasing stroke risk. Darlene, 77, ate corn at both dinner and breakfast. Her blood pressure and glucose levels swung, and she suffered a small ischemic stroke. Key tip: move corn to earlier in the day and balance it with protein or fiber. Avoid bedtime bowls of cornflakes or late-night corn snacks. 8. Asparagus. The diuretic effect like romaine. Asparagus acts as a diuretic. That means it can dehydrate you overnight, especially if you're already on diuretic medications for blood pressure or heart failure. Joanne, 79, had asparagus dinners without drinking water afterward. She went to bed slightly dehydrated and woke up with stroke symptoms. Key tip: if you eat asparagus at night, drink water before bed. Never stack diuretic foods with diuretic medications late in the evening. 9. Tomatoes. Surprising stroke mimics. Tomatoes belong to the nightshade family, which contain compounds like histamines, tyramines, and solanine. In sensitive people, these can trigger headaches, vision problems, or weakness that feels like a stroke, even if no clot is found. Geraldine, 83, had tomato soup every night. One evening, she developed slurred speech and weakness. Doctors suspected stroke, but scans showed no clot, just a reaction to the compounds in tomatoes. Key tip: pay attention to how your body reacts. If you notice fogginess, headaches, or swelling after heavy tomato meals, especially at night, cut back. The bigger picture: it's about context, not fear. These stories aren't meant to scare you away from vegetables. They're meant to show that after 60, the rules of nutrition change. Your arteries, kidneys, metabolism, and medications all interact with food differently. So here are the golden rules. Time matters. Eat heavier or diuretic vegetables earlier in the day. Balance matters. Pair carbs with protein or fat to prevent spikes and crashes. Hydration matters. A small glass of water before bed can reduce clot risk. Consistency matters. Keep vitamin K intake steady if you're on blood thinners. Communication matters. Tell your doctor about all supplements, including garlic. By making small adjustments, you can keep enjoying these foods without fear and protect your brain at the same time. When we take a closer look at why these hidden risks appear, a clear pattern emerges. The problem is not the vegetable itself, but the way our aging body responds to it. After 60, our blood vessels lose elasticity, the kidneys filter less efficiently, and the body's ability to balance fluids, minerals, and sugar weakens. That means a food that once energized us in our 40s can suddenly destabilize our blood pressure or thicken our blood overnight. Let's expand on these mechanisms and see how everyday habits can either magnify the danger or completely neutralize it. The role of hydration and blood thickness. One of the most overlooked triggers of nighttime stroke is simple dehydration. Even mild fluid loss thickens the blood, making clots more likely. Diuretic vegetables like romaine or asparagus are not dangerous alone. The danger comes when they are eaten late, combined with diuretic medications, and not balanced with water. Older adults also lose their natural thirst signal, meaning they often go to bed slightly dehydrated without realizing it. A simple prevention method? Keep a small glass of water by the bedside. Not a large amount that disrupts sleep, but enough to maintain circulation. Doctors in stroke units often note that patients who hydrate regularly have fewer clotting events at night. Sugar swings and the silent stress hormones carrots and corn are not candy. But in aging bodies, they can act surprisingly like it. A quick sugar spike followed by a drop in the middle of the night activates cortisol and adrenaline. These stress hormones tighten arteries, elevate heart rate, and in some cases even trigger atrial fibrillation, a dangerous heart rhythm linked to stroke. Pairing starchy vegetables with protein slows digestion and prevents that roller coaster. For example, corn eaten alongside beans, or carrots with hummus, will digest more steadily than eating them alone. The difference might seem small, but for fragile blood vessels, it can decide whether a clot forms. Medication vegetable conflicts. The most common interaction seniors face is between vitamin K-rich vegetables and anticoagulants. But there are other subtle conflicts too. Garlic and onions may multiply the effect of aspirin or prescription blood thinners. Diuretic vegetables, when combined with diuretic drugs, can lower potassium levels, causing cramps or dangerous heart rhythms. High oxalate greens like spinach or beet leaves can interfere with calcium absorption from supplements, ironically leaving bones weaker while stiffening blood vessels. The safe approach is not to eliminate these foods, but to maintain consistency and communicate openly with healthcare providers. Doctors are not against vegetables. They simply need to adjust medications with full knowledge of what patients eat daily. The hidden influence of timing. Why do so many of these events happen at night? Because the body's natural protective rhythms change while we sleep. Blood pressure normally dips slightly. If diet or medications push that dip too far, the brain suffers from reduced blood flow. Then, as dawn approaches, the body prepares to wake by releasing stress hormones, creating an early morning spike in blood pressure. This combination of nighttime lows and morning surges is the perfect storm for stroke. That's why shifting certain vegetables to the first half of the day can dramatically reduce risk. Eating spinach at lunch rather than dinner, or moving a tomato-based soup to midday, allows the body to process nutrients while you are awake and hydrated. Real-life eating mistakes that add up. In practice, many seniors unknowingly stack risks. A dinner of asparagus, a romaine salad, and a glass of wine, followed by skipping water to avoid nighttime bathroom trips. A bedtime snack of raw carrots, taken alone, while already on insulin or diabetes medications. A heart-healthy routine of garlic supplements combined with prescribed anticoagulants. Each individual choice might look harmless, but layered together, they create a fragile balance that can tip into stroke overnight. The good news? With a few small adjustments, these meals can be made safe without losing their nutritional value. Smarter preparation methods. Cooking often changes the impact of a vegetable. For example, lightly steaming spinach reduces its oxalate load. Cooking carrots increases antioxidant availability, but lowers the speed of sugar release. Roasting onions makes their compounds gentler on blood pressure. Pairing tomatoes with olive oil improves nutrient absorption while lowering the chance of sudden histamine effects. Simple kitchen techniques like these transform potential risks into benefits. The psychology of healthy eating traps. One more hidden danger is mindset. Seniors who commit to a healthy lifestyle sometimes overdo it, eating the same superfood every night or doubling up on supplements without realizing that more is not always better. The body thrives on variety and moderation. Even the best vegetable becomes risky if eaten excessively or without balance. Practical daily checklist for safer vegetable habits after 60 rotate. Don't repeat. Avoid eating the same vegetable at the same time every day. Balance the plate. Pair starches with proteins and healthy fats. Check your meds. Always review supplements like garlic or high-dose greens with your doctor. Hydrate wisely. A half glass of water before bed supports circulation without disturbing sleep. Move meals earlier. Heavy or diuretic vegetables are safer at lunch than late dinner. Listen to your body. Headaches, dizziness, or brain fog after certain foods are warning signals worth discussing with a professional. The deeper we explore the relationship between vegetables and stroke risk in older adults, the clearer it becomes that timing, preparation, and individual health status matter just as much as the vegetable itself. Scientists often talk about the vascular clock, the rhythm of how our arteries expand, contract, and repair themselves across a 24-hour cycle. When a senior eats the wrong vegetable at the wrong time, that natural rhythm can be disrupted, making the brain more vulnerable to either clots or sudden bleeding. Circadian rhythms and nighttime vulnerability. At night, blood pressure typically dips, the heart slows, and the brain's oxygen demand decreases. This rest phase is protective in youth, but in older adults with stiffer arteries, it can set the stage for crisis. If blood pressure dips too far because of onion compounds, or blood volume drops because of diuretic vegetables, the brain may not get enough perfusion. Then, when morning comes, the body releases cortisol and adrenaline, pushing blood pressure sharply upward. Tiny cracks in weakened arteries can rupture, or hidden clots can suddenly lodge in the brain. This explains why the majority of strokes in seniors happen between 2 a.m. and 8 a.m. It is not only about genetics or luck. Food choices the evening before can tilt the scale towards stability or disaster. Overlooked vegetables with hidden risks. Beyond the well-known 9, other vegetables also deserve attention. Beet greens and Swiss chard, extremely high in oxalates and nitrates. In younger people, nitrates lower blood pressure beneficially. But in seniors already on antihypertensives, sudden dips can cause fainting or morning surges. Celery contains natural diuretic compounds. A bowl of celery soup at night can increase urine output, disturb sleep, and dehydrate the body. Potatoes. Especially when baked or mashed, they raise blood sugar quickly. Nighttime surges followed by hypoglycemia can destabilize circulation. Eggplant. Another nightshade containing small amounts of solanine, which in sensitive individuals may trigger headaches or blood vessel constriction. Pickled vegetables. High sodium raises blood pressure overnight, counteracting medications and stressing fragile arteries. The point isn't to eliminate them entirely, but to recognize when and how they can cause trouble. The compounding effect of lifestyle habits. A single dietary choice rarely causes a stroke, but stacked together with poor lifestyle habits, the risk multiplies. Late-night meals. Digestion diverts blood flow to the gut, leaving the brain more vulnerable to low perfusion. Alcohol with dinner. Even a small glass of wine dilates blood vessels, then causes rebound constriction hours later. Combined with high salt or diuretic vegetables, it destabilizes circulation. Sedentary evenings. Lack of movement after dinner allows blood to pool in the legs, raising clot risk. Small adjustments, like a short walk after dinner, spacing out alcohol, or moving heavier meals earlier in the day, can reduce these compounding factors dramatically. Case studies doctors often see. In geriatric clinics, physicians often share similar patient stories. An 82-year-old with a nightly ritual of beet juice for heart health who arrived at the ER with dizziness and fainting from sudden blood pressure dips. A 74-year-old diabetic who relied on mashed potatoes as comfort food at dinner, experiencing repeated morning confusion from nocturnal hypoglycemia. A 79-year-old who ate pickled vegetables daily, presenting with a hemorrhagic stroke after years of uncontrolled nighttime blood pressure spikes. Each story illustrates how well-intentioned health habits, without adjustment for age, can backfire. Nutrient interactions that shape risk. Several nutrient-nutrient interactions become critical after 60. Calcium plus oxalates. Too much together promotes vascular calcification. Potassium plus diuretics. Loss of potassium from food and medication leads to arrhythmias. Vitamin K plus anticoagulants. Inconsistency triggers clotting instability. Histamines plus antihypertensives. Additive blood pressure drops cause fainting. Understanding these interactions empowers seniors to eat wisely rather than fearfully. Simple frameworks for safe eating. The daytime rule. Concentrate higher-risk vegetables at breakfast and lunch. The pairing rule. Combine carbs with proteins and fats. The hydration rule. Finish the day with half a glass of water, not zero. The rotation rule. Change vegetables across the week to avoid overload. The monitoring rule. Keep track of how foods make you feel the next morning. When followed consistently, these rules can transform diet from a hidden threat into a protective shield. The hidden role of sleep. Finally, sleep quality magnifies all of these effects. Sleep apnea, common in older adults, already lowers oxygen supply to the brain. If combined with diuretic vegetables or alcohol at night, oxygen dips become even more severe. That combination is why doctors often stress, treat sleep problems as aggressively as you treat blood pressure or cholesterol. Vegetables are not villains. They are powerful allies, but only when consumed with wisdom that accounts for the realities of aging. By aligning food choices with circadian rhythm, hydration, and medication balance, seniors can keep enjoying their favorite vegetables, while dramatically lowering their stroke risk. Another perspective worth exploring is how culture and tradition shape vegetable choices. Many seniors grew up believing that more vegetables at dinner equals better health. In principle, that's true, but the modern reality of medications and chronic conditions changes the equation. Traditional meals and modern risks. In many Asian cultures, pickled vegetables or fermented greens are staples at night. While good for digestion, their high salt content raises nighttime blood pressure. In Mediterranean diets, tomato-rich sauces are often eaten at dinner. Healthy for antioxidants, yes. But for sensitive seniors, the tyramine and histamine load may trigger nighttime headaches or mimic strokes. In Western homes, baked potatoes, corn, and bread remain comfort foods. Their starch loads spike glucose at exactly the wrong time of day. Without adjustment, these traditions silently contribute to vascular instability. Why the senior brain is uniquely sensitive. The aging brain depends on a delicate balance of glucose and oxygen. Unlike younger brains, it cannot store energy reserves effectively. Any sudden dip, whether from hypoglycemia, dehydration, or pressure drops, leaves brain tissue vulnerable. That's why older adults often feel morning confusion after late-night vegetable choices that destabilize the system. The role of inflammation. Some vegetables, particularly nightshades like tomatoes and eggplant, may increase inflammation in sensitive individuals. This doesn't happen to everyone, but in those with arthritis or autoimmune tendencies, inflammatory cascades can narrow vessels overnight, mimicking the onset of stroke. Doctors now believe that silent inflammation plays as large a role in strokes as cholesterol or clots. Small meal timing experiments that help shift salads to lunch. This maximizes hydration and prevents nocturnal fluid loss. Test starch timing. Move potatoes or corn to breakfast or lunch and monitor morning energy. Evening vegetables. Favor steamed zucchini, green beans, or squash. Low oxalate, low starch, gentle on circulation. Bedtime routine. Instead of raw carrots or pickles, try a small portion of yogurt with seeds, balancing digestion and blood sugar. These small experiments allow seniors to personalize their diet, discovering which foods cause morning clarity versus fog. Exercise and circulation synergy. Diet alone cannot prevent strokes. Evening stretching, short walks, or simple leg lifting exercises help maintain blood flow. Seniors who combine proper food timing with light movement dramatically reduce clot risk. Even 10 minutes of gentle activity after dinner aids circulation better than any supplement. Stories of transformation. Maria, 81, stopped eating raw carrots before bed and shifted them to lunchtime with hummus. Her morning dizziness disappeared. James, 77, replaced nightly tomato soup with steamed zucchini. His blood pressure readings stabilized and headaches ceased. A couple in their 70s began hydrating lightly before bed and cut back on pickled vegetables at night. Their doctors noted more stable labs and fewer emergency visits. These stories reveal that prevention doesn't always come from pills. It comes from mindful, daily choices. A holistic view. When we view vegetables through the lens of aging physiology, they stop being one-dimensional good or bad foods. They become tools. The key lies in matching the right tool to the right time, the right body, and the right condition. By aligning meals with circadian rhythms, monitoring interactions with medications, and balancing nutrients, seniors can keep enjoying the benefits of vegetables without facing hidden dangers. Natural closing and call to action. Your health is built every evening at the dinner table, not just in the doctor's office. If you've recognized some of your own habits in these stories, now is the perfect time to make small adjustments. Try moving your salads earlier, hydrating a little before bed, or rotating your favorite vegetables more wisely. And because health is a journey we should walk together, I'd love to hear from you. Which vegetable habits surprised you the most today? Have you noticed any changes in your body after certain meals? Share your experiences in the comments. Your story might help someone else avoid a stroke. And if you found this video useful, don't forget to subscribe, follow, and join our community here on Live Healthy Every Day, where we turn everyday choices into powerful steps toward a longer, healthier life.